For all your real estate, financing, and investing questions, call the show's off-air number and speak with Mike Gray directly. 530-431-8586. That's 530-431-8586. Now, the Golden State Report with Mike, Amy, and Dave.
Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to the Golden State Report, heard every weekend on AM 1380. I'm Mike Gray with Morris Williams Realty, along with David Stone from the Stone Consulting Group.
Hello, everybody.
And Amy DeBus from American Pacific Mortgage.
Hello, gentlemen.
So, Amy, you had something you wanted to bring up this segment?
Well, I think that it's long overdue that we talk about the NAR ruling, the National Association of Realtors, and the litigation and what they're proposing.
Right.
And what's on the table right now.
Yeah, big lawsuit. It's been in the news heavily this last 30 days. Some information incorrect. Here's my 2 cents. All right?
All right.
Lawsuit developed because some realtors were very poor in their communication skills. Simple as that. That's the basic. Good realtors knew how to communicate. Unfortunately, there are a plethora of realtors who are average or not so good at communicating. The bottom line is sellers said, I didn't know that my commission, I was paying the buyer's agent. Seller, I would have thought, I think that's pretty common knowledge in my mind and with my clients, but evidently some sellers did not know that. The other half of the equation is the buyers came forward and said, I did not know that the seller was paying my buyer's agent. So who is my buyer really working for in their mind?
Did I get the best deal?
Yeah, because the seller was really paying. He was really working for the seller.
So were they in cahoots?
Yeah, is there a conflict of interest here?
And so I'm not going into all the weeds here about all the different details. Basically, it was poor communication, and there's going to be a settlement. I think the judge will sign off it. By midsummer, the rules are going to change. And the effect of that is that there's going to be a lot more communication about those two specific issues.
So just to back up, in the event that the judge signs off on this lawsuit,
class action suit,
that means that going forward, no other clients can make a lawsuit about this.
How we previously did business.
Yes, how we previously did business.
On those topics.
So
this will settle that.
So puts the kibosh on more lawsuits coming around.
Because there had been. When that lawsuit was settled last year and before the judgment came out against the National Association of Realtors and the Realtors, that was just one of a few. And now in November, December, January, February, we just saw a bunch more people being sued. Some in the state of California. This settlement will take care of all of those litigation and all those lawsuits on this particular topic.
Okay.
So what's going to happen by midsummer if the agreement that the National Association of Realtors has made with the courts and if the judge signs off on it, basically we cannot put in the multiple listings service any cooperative commission that exists.
So now, how are you guys going to find out as realtors how much the buyer's agent is going to get paid?
We're going to call the listing agent.
And then the listing agent's going to tell you, yes, there's 2.5%.
They just can't put it in the MLS saying that the seller is offering 2.5% to the buyer's brokerage if they bring a buyer who closes the deal.
So what are you seeing out there now? It's premature probably, but I bet there's probably some sellers that are being a little stingy and saying... There are. And
let me talk about the other thing that's going to happen. Before I show you a house, you have to sign you a form saying how I'm going to get paid.
So a buyer has to sign a form before...
I walk through that house.
So every house has to have a different form signed. Every
zip code might need a different form. I don't know for sure how that's going to really flesh out.
Right.
But right now, the easiest way to say that, yes, every house, before I show it to you, I have to have a form in hand saying, we have talked about how I get paid.
Yes.
As a buyer's agent.
Yeah, well, that happens in my industry.
I know.
We communicate. That's when I do an initial consultation, that's one of the things that in every meeting we discuss.
I have this conversation with every single buyer before we go out.
Yeah.
I am paid from the proceeds of the sale.
Right.
Which are essence from the seller's proceeds of the sale. But I represent you, and I will be trying to keep as much money coming to your side of the table as possible. The buyers have to trust that I am not working for the sellers. I am working for them, even though my income, my commission from that sale will come from the proceeds of the sale.
Right.
And so there's a trust level that's involved there.
And so just to clarify, as the buyer's agent, your income will still come from the proceeds from the sale. But there's now going to be extra forms the buyer has to sign.
It could come from the proceeds of the sale.
Not
that it will, but
it could.
In a seller's market, when there are multiple buyers trying to buy the same property, that's what a seller's market is. More buyers than there are homes available. There will be some sellers out there that will say, you know what, I'm not going to pay the buyer's agent. I'll still get a buyer. Yeah. So some buyers are going to go to the buyer's agent saying, how are you getting paid? Well, the seller's not going to pay me, so I'm going to have to ask you to pay me.
That's increasing their down payment.
It is.
Essentially.
Basically.
Got to pay you.
And then the buyer's going to have to determine whether or not that house is worth it or whether or not their agent is worth it. And there will be a sizable number of companies that are going to hit the market this summer saying, hey, I'll help you buy a house for $2,500. Bottom line here, people, you're going to get what you pay for. You're buying or selling one of your largest single financial assets that you're going to hold in your life. Mm-hmm. And you're going to hire a discount brokerage who'll say, oh, no, we can represent you, and they probably can.
Who's definitely not going to find the cistern in the back of the property.
Well, they might. You can't say that they might not. But
no, I don't think they will.
They might not even go to the property with
they're
you.
not going to go to the property for $2,500.
I have several listings coming up. I've had this conversation with the sellers. The goal is to get as many buyers as we can. Okay? So let's just say that this goes through and you don't want to pay the buyer. Guess what happens when you sell this house and you go buy a house?
You're going to have to deal with that.
So right now, as a seller, you pay it. As a buyer, you don't. This may say, well, now you'll pay it half as a seller and half as a buyer. Or maybe you pay a lesser percentage. I have seen some commission changes that I have seen in our business. Some sellers are offering 2%. Some are offering a flat fee. But we're in a seller's market. When we are in a neutral market, or a buyer's market, when there are more buyers than homes, mm-hmm. and more homes than buyers,
right.
The sellers are going to do everything they can to get as many buyers to look at their property. You're going to see sellers,
pay top dollar for a buyer's agent to bring a buyer in.
And so, again, it comes down to communication. And then really after that, it comes down, do you trust your agent?
Right.
To give you the best advice possible,
absolutely.
To help you buy, to help you sell. And that's where your experience comes in. I told Amy, I think this is really going to affect agents who have little experience and hence cannot communicate value, or agents who have experience but don't know how to communicate their value.
Well, right. And I'll add to that, it's going to affect realtors who do not know how to negotiate.
It could, yes.
Because, this is going to open up a fourth room of negotiations.
Yeah. Anyway, if you have any questions about that, I'd be more than happy to talk to you about that. So give me a call, 530-431-8586. You've been listening to the Golden State Report. We surely appreciate that you've taken the time to allow us to be part of your weekend. I hope that you have a wonderful week and would consider tuning in again next week. Thank you, everyone.